I gave $1 million to the father who abandoned me as a paralyzed child. But the world called me an ungrateful monster until I told them to put a hidden camera in my mother's house. To understand why I betrayed the greatest mother in the country, you have to know the fairy tale everyone believed. When I was 7, a car accident left me paralyzed, and my father, seeing me as a broken burden, dumped me on my mother's doorstep like unwanted trash. For 20 years, my mother became a saint in the public eye. She worked multiple jobs until she collapsed, divorced her second husband to care for me, and earned the admiration of the entire internet. But the script flipped when I won a $1.5 million lottery jackpot. Instead of rewarding my saintly mother, I handed every penny to the father who had rejected me. The backlash was nuclear. Reporters cornered me, demanding to know how I could be so heartless to the woman who sacrificed everything. I looked them in the eye and gave them a simple challenge. Install hidden cameras in my home for 3 days and then you'll understand. The live stream began, and at first it seemed to confirm the legend. My mother came home exhausted, finding me in a soiled bed, and instead of anger, she showed only guilt, blaming herself for not taking better care of me. The comment section flooded with praise for her selflessness. But then, a knock at the door changed everything. My father, luggage in hand, barged in, claiming he had a right to stay in my apartment since it was technically in my name. When my mother asked him to help carry me to the bath, he recoiled in disgust, calling me a useless cripple who reeked. He sneered that my lottery money was a gift I gave willingly, and that he owed me nothing, suggesting I should just die. The internet exploded with rage at him, but they were still missing the real horror that was about to unfold. My father kicked my wheelchair so hard I nearly tipped over, cursing me for spilling his cheap liquor. But when my mother rushed to my side, frantic with worry, I shoved her away and demanded the very bread my father had refused to give me. To understand why I rejected her feast for his scraps, you have to look past the surface of the live stream. My mother spent over an hour cleaning me, her body shaking from exhaustion, before dragging herself to the kitchen to cook a gourmet meal: steamed fish, braised pork, and chicken soup made from a free-range bird. She bought just for me. She spoon-fed me with love in her eyes, begging me to eat to regain my strength. But I turned my head away, cold and indifferent, and instead asked my father for a piece of bread from the coffee table. He didn't even look up from his phone, telling me to get it myself if I wanted it so badly. The internet exploded with rage. Viewers called me crazy, ungrateful trash for rejecting my mother's labor of love to beg for crumbs from a man who wished I was dead. They pitied her, watching her efforts go to waste while I stubbornly fixated on him. The next day, she came home early with that specific bread still warm, trying to please me. I looked at it and told her I didn't want it anymore, crushing her spirit with a single sentence: "I don't want to eat anything you make." I wheeled myself to the balcony only to collide with my father, knocking a bottle of liquor from his hand. He exploded, kicking my wheelchair with enough force to rattle my bones, screaming that I had wasted his drink. My mother rushed to protect me, but he just sneered that since I was paralyzed, I couldn't feel pain anyway. As she checked me for injuries, trembling with fear, I remained silent, knowing the cameras were capturing every brutal second, building the evidence for the truth that was about to shatter everyone's perception of who the real villain was. My mother sat beside me, holding my hand and reminiscing about my childhood with tears in her eyes, painting a picture of perfect maternal love for the hidden cameras. But when her phone rang, her smile twisted, and she whispered, "It is almost time." To understand the final act of this tragedy, you have to look at the third day of the live stream. The internet was still roasting me alive, calling me a heartless monster for ignoring my mother's bleeding hand and injury she sustained protecting me from my father. She played her role flawlessly, massaging my paralyzed limbs, grooming me with tender care, and ignoring my cold indifference. The comment section was a chorus of sympathy for the greatest mother in the country and hatred for the ungrateful daughter who deserved her paralysis. She wheeled me onto the balcony to bask in the sun, trimming my nails and waxing poetic about how I used to promise to take her around the world. It was a masterclass in emotional manipulation. But then the phone rang. She declined the call, looked deep into my eyes, and delivered the line that signaled the end: "It is almost time." I smiled back, a faint, knowing expression that confused the viewers. They thought they were watching a saint care for a sinner, but they were about to witness a monster shed its skin. She stood up, glanced at me with an unreadable expression, and made a move that would shock the world into silence, revealing exactly why I had given my money to the father who hated me instead of the mother who supposedly loved me. Welcome to share your feelings in the comments section. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more story content, please check out the other videos on my channel.